You good? We live? Yeah, carry on. We're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. Slam the gavel. All right, we have all members present. Thank you. Way too many people. We'll stand and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father, thank you for allowing us to join tonight and to discuss city business. Father, I ask that you be with each and every person in the room, and let's keep everybody on task and keep everybody making the best decisions for the citizens of Bartlett, Texas. Father, we thank you for our guests that have traveled over here to present for us tonight, and we just ask you to be with them when they travel back home. And Father, we certainly appreciate the beautiful weather you've blessed us with here recently. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. There is no citizens communication. So we'll skip down to boards, commissions, committees, presentations, proclamations. Cemetery Committee monthly update. Gil Jones.
At the cemetery, we've done a little bit of work out there this week, different things. Today, I filled up a big trash can full of flowers that's been blown around, so I'm in the process of trying to all the faded ones out. And Bart has done a good job at everything. He sprayed everything's dying out good finally from the weather's finally letting us get rid of some of that stuff. So it's looking a lot better out there.
Good deal. Thank you, sir. On to Kiner Memorial Library Board monthly update.
They have not met, but we'll be meeting on Wednesday.
Item 3, Municipal Development District monthly update. Will be Thursday, right?
They're meeting on Thursday. But at the last meeting, they approved, let's see, a few things. We have brought one of their forms to the website. We have brought one of their forms to the website so that we can start streamlining how they take grant applications. And so hopefully we'll start to see more of those grant applications that they want to take. And so leveraging our website to do that. And then they also approved a contract with Global Site Locations Industries. It's essentially best way to explain it, it's like a dashboard where cities can go, and there's a lot of industries out there that are looking for places to expand or, where they want to land next and build the site. And so it's a $3,900 a year program. They're paying half, we're paying half. And it lets us go and bid on these things so that they can at least be aware of Bartlett. So let's say that there's a industrial site that's looking to come to Texas, they'll put that on there, and then they'll work with the cities to create packages to essentially submit hey, we're interested if y'all wanted to come look at us. So something that we can start doing. One thing that we heard at the United Way meeting we had, a lot of it was how can we create jobs? And so this is one way to start looking at doing that. We're not going to land every fish, but at least we're fishing in the same pond now.
Just need to land one as a start. Awesome, thank you. Item 4, Parks and Facilities Committee monthly update.
Nothing at this time. We just work at the ballpark.
Yeah, I did some work at the ballpark on Saturday. I had one of my workers from work come help me. We got a lot more to do out there. It's coming together. trying to push it together before April 1st.
We have not seen any quotes come in or invoices come in from the
I
youth
told
league.
I told them to order the dirt that they needed. They needed like 6 loads of dirt, I think, for the fields. Told them to order the dirt, drop the invoice at the city hall. So they're supposed to be getting that dirt either today or tomorrow. So just trying to get it ready. They're lacking good quality volunteers. They can. A lot of their board members are farmers, and so it's like the start of the season is the start of crop season. So they're in the fields trying to get their crops in the fields. So they haven't had a whole lot of time to spend at the ball fields. So they do have one good guy and his wife. They've been doing a lot of work. Another couple. So but yeah, anybody's got any spare time and they want to go volunteer at the ball fields to help us pull it together. I did mention to them earlier on the phone, one of the ladies planted the seed about possibly doing a fundraiser on the weekend, the Saturday, Sunday, or the Sunday, Monday, with the solar or the whatever that eclipse thing they got going on here in the middle of Texas. So they wanted to do some day camping out there and have like some sort of event. They've got the room to do it. So
They want to do some preparing for that. They're expecting a lot of people.
we put about 1 million people out there.
I'm talking about entertainment. Frankly, they're expecting over 30,000.
In Granger?
Yes.
Jeez, Chief, you're gonna need some help.
They're setting up booths downtown and everything for them.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to see if we could do something out at the ball field where they can, have tent sites for 30, 40 bucks or whatever. I don't know. They were paying thousands of dollars for Airbnbs or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's just
Your
crazy.
hotel, that's great for that weekend.
Yeah, it's crazy. So good opportunity for them to make a few dollars to help them put back into the facilities. So just like that.
Now, exactly how long is this eclipse gonna last?
That's like about 1 minute and 32 seconds.
You go out now about 1 o'clock.
It's like 1:30-ish, right?
Yeah,
It's like
it's what it
1:30.
looks like, that's what it's
I think they said like peak is 2 minutes of what it really is, and
Be
then
my luck.
it's like a 2-hour
I'm
thing.
gonna go to John. I'll be right back.
Lampasas apparently is getting the broadest coverage of it, but so we are as well. We're in the 100% of what it's really hitting, so.
So Robert, downtown,
Yeah.
get them buildings going, buddy, downtown. And you got what, 2-3 weeks?
We get them all these stuff like that.
I mean, yeah. I don't know how to do it, but yeah. So it's out there. But that's all on that. Anybody else have anything on that? Workshop agenda, review, discuss, and provide direction. Item number 5, discussion on curbside recycling.
So this item, I think this has come up before you all. Linda Hebner and Amanda, I forgot her last.
Ulrich.
Yes, Ulrich. They have asked if the city could look at possibly, first off, starting with some kind of poll, right? Surveying residents, seeing if they'd like to do curbside recycling. When I spoke to Tanya Clausen about it, she said that, it's an all or nothing program. If you institute it, everybody gets a recycling bin, and if not, then you just continue to do it, I think, with the school district. But I know that the school, I think that site might be having some impacts based on all the construction. Don't know. Jackie, is that a fair
We
statement?
moved the container to the end of over there by the high school, and it seems to get filled
Okay,
just as quick.
yeah. So I know that's something that residents have as an availability, but I do know that this is a service that a lot of folks enjoy, but whether or not Bartlett enjoys it is the question. And so wanted to get some discussion going and feedback from you all as if this is something that you'd like to see us explore. We could survey residents.
How much extra is it to the residents?
That I don't know yet. I asked Tanya to give me a cost and she hasn't gotten me one yet.
We want to discuss this.
Bunch of-
Yeah.
Bunches of
All or
times.
nothing deal.
Yeah.
It was gonna like double everybody's rates on their garbage pickup and the whole thing. We kind of put it on the back burner.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, everybody changed their mind, but it was, like
I
I say,
think-
it's like citywide or not.
I want to say Clausen's quote come back like $6 and some change per can.
Mhm.
It's a much smaller can, and it's only picked up bi-weekly rather than every week. And it wasn't terribly expensive, but it wasn't added additional cost to the utility bill. I mean, it could be used as another revenue source for the city. I mean, we're paying $6.63 or whatever and charging $10, whatever it is.
Yeah, that would be the idea here. You'd want to recoup the cost you're paying for that service. So you had your return on investment. So there would be revenue generated. Now the question is, and it will always go back to, do the residents of Bartlett want it?
That would be the big thing.
I think it's-
Also come over here for 20 cans.
I think we're supposed to do a poll then and just never did. And
So would that be something that the council, would that be something that y'all like us to do? Survey? We could send something out through the newspaper, social media, put something in.
I know I put a lot of
Mail
cardboard
outs.
in the Amazon boxes. My gosh, I put 3,700 of them things in the trash can every Sunday. So it's like, I'd be fine with it, but that's council.
I just don't know if the citizens, the majority of the citizens will spend an extra $15 a month just to pick up the boxes.
There's also the training, the educational portion of it, because it's not a trash can. And if you put-
Police that.
If,
Yeah.
if
Well,
you
that
put
they do.
Crossing will tag it and not pick it up, and then they'll be calling our
Yeah.
ladies in the office saying my can didn't get picked up.
Mhm.
So it's if we're going to do it, is there going to be some educational and training that has to go along with it? I mean, because they're going to see it as another trash can, they're just going to throw rubbish in there that's non-recyclable, and then they're going to start getting fines or not picked up, and then
We can act also came down and gave us a whole presentation and the whole thing.
I think it's a great idea. But
It is a great idea, it didn't go any legs.
so
I'd rather see us put, again, like the school's got over here, monitor that, and give them another place to dump it. Instead of certain dump times, so they can dump it just like we do at the bus stop.
you don't get on Facebook often, do you?
You don't come out there, sorry.
Who threw ketchup in the recycle bin?
The problem with that, you get a recycle, get a large one like that, next thing you know, people are dropping chairs and
Mattresses,
Well, it didn't have to be police, that's where you had to.
tires,
Yeah,
headboards. Remember, Chief?
yeah. Then the city guys got to fix that.
Yeah.
Arthur's for that.
No, that was at the brush pile.
I wouldn't recommend a roll off like that because that is what's going to happen, and we're not 24/7. And so, middle of the night, someone can go in, drop a mattress. You can lock it up, but then people will say, well, "What's the point of a community?" Then,
Once it's gonna say that, you want to put something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I mean, curbside recycling is
I think
Standard.
you Be real careful that you don't turn around with revenue, yeah, that's revenue out of your people that live here pocket.
Yeah.
They can't be the sole source of our income.
Someone poll the city and see what they say, the citizens. I don't have
yeah,
a
and we would
problem.
include in that what the cost increase would be to them once I get something from Ms.
Yeah, I think we'd have to
Clausen.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
We'd want to include that so that we can get a fair response. And if
you don't want to poll them with no cost, and then hit them with a
Yeah.
$15 charge. Like, oh, you didn't tell us it was a charge.
Yeah.
They don't know what the numbers is, they're gonna bill it either.
Mhm. But from a time, I mean, right now is the perfect time to look at it since we are doing the rate study, so it would fall in line with that process.
Put the numbers together, it's like the city.
All right, I just needed that feedback before we went out and did something, so we'll work on getting that information and then sending out some kind of survey.
Talking about doing a recycle every 2 weeks like that.
Well, that'd be what I've seen normally is every 2 weeks because every week the cost gets higher.
Yeah, I think she told us every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's two separate trucks. So it's
They
gonna
got a
be-
separate truck for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting that because if Queen at my house had recycled all of that, I think that's up to BFI over there in Georgetown. It's 2 weeks for me. I'll have a bunch of plastic in my house.
So if it doesn't pass, Jesse's volunteering to take everything to BFI in Georgetown. He'll do it every 2 weeks, he said.
I just dump it in my boss's dumpster. Oh, he thinks I'm recycling.
All right. So I think the direction on that is proceed with getting numbers together, and
Feedback.
then we'll look at numbers, and then we'll poll. Item number 6, presentation update, discussion on personnel policy.
Is that not coming on? Is it? Yeah. Let me fix it. You hit the lights for me, Brenda.
Yeah, that works.
All right. Mayor and council, this is bringing this back to you all. We've had a lot of discussion, a few workshops on the personnel policy update. So in your packet, you will have a red line, a clean version, and then we'll walk through some of the things that have been implemented in that, as well as certain other things that we may want to discuss before continuing on and getting to a final version. So the last time we talked about this, the big question was on longevity and getting accurate data. And so we've done that. Option 1 and 2 were kind of the ones that y'all wanted to see come back. I think it was option 2 last time. Now we've reduced it down. And so the 2 options were to increase the $2 a month to the $5, or to do a per year amount, kind of a year one $100, and then moving up $50 additionally after every year. And so with our current staffing, this is essentially what that fiscal impact would be. Option 1 being that $5, and option 2 being that incremental $100, $150, $200, $250, and so on for their time of service. Honestly, either one I think is very competitive, and both of those fall in line with what we saw when we did that longevity survey across a lot of cities similar sized. And so just wanted to get your feedback on which option you'd prefer to see which one's easier to implement from a staff standpoint. I would say $5 a month is a lot easier, but we could easily make some kind of Excel formula sheet that would plug and play and give us what everybody makes, because our system doesn't do it for us. So something that we would have to input. And wanted to stop here to kind of see if there's any discussion, any preference from you all.
So that's the 13 employees,
Yes.
and that's the months of their service.
Mhm.
This is as of February or as of right now?
Believe that this is if we were to do it next year. So this would be, or this,
Up
Yeah.
to December, I guess.
yeah, I'd want to double check, but I think I did it all the way up to December.
So option 1 is $5 per month of service,
Mhm.
up from the 2. or whatever it is.
Two for policy, 3 by practice.
And then option 2 is $100 annual, and then it's $150 each year.
$50 each year incrementally.
And is that based off of each employee's anniversary date, or is that run fiscal, or what? How's that
From my
run?
understanding, it is how much time they have by December of every year.
I guess it's calendar year.
Mhm.
That'd be amazing, you won't go with months of service, because it won't be fair.
Mhm.
Yeah. They all started at different times.
Yeah, because you may have some people where they might be at, let's say, 11 months into getting their 12-month, but they're gonna essentially just get the year that they're in, not necessarily the year they're about to hit. So they'd lose that additional 50.
Person who helps you with it.
Any other comments? Everybody at the same time.
The $5 a month, you feel like it's easier to keep up with?
Oh, absolutely. Essentially, it's just pulling the date that they started, the date that we're pulling from, and then multiplying those months by 5. Whereas when I do the other one, I have to incrementally keep track of, okay, year 6 is 100 or whatever it may be, year 8 is whatever, and so then I have to go back and forth and whatnot. There's not a clean cut system to it.
And it's 205 the cap on the months? Or does it incrementally go up from there?
There probably is a cap.
That's just our longest employee's been here. Come this December, it'll be 205 months. Chief, I think, are you number 2 here?
I think he is.
Jamie's number 1, Chief, you number 2, and probably Derek or Clayton.
You may not have a cap, but you're essentially seeing right there 15 to 16 years of service. So the maximum is 240 months per policy.
That's the cap.
Mhm. Oh, is it 240?
120, 10 years.
Yeah.
Any other comments, guys? Directions?
So I'm hearing option 1 being the preferred. Is there anyone who differs from that?
So our current one, we're basically going at the end of December,
Yes.
same format.
It's just
Like the
the,
first pay period in December is when they get the money. It's kind of like.
and it comes as a separate paycheck. So it's not included in their current paycheck. It's a separate lump sum that they get.
It's kind of like end of year bonus, I guess it's really like Christmas bonus.
So technically, it's an increase of what? 1,800 bucks, something like that.
For the maximum, more than likely around there.
So they currently get current. So
35, 85.
they get $3 per month of service that they've given us. So if they've been here a year, they would get
12 times 3.
$3,600. The longer they're here, it's a longevity bonus. So the longer they're here, is 3 times 205 months, $615. Or
But what I'm saying is you're getting this every year.
Every year,
every December.
first pay period of December, they get.
I'm just trying to understand because I know like when I worked at another company, Floyd's, we had our Christmas bonus and Christmas party, they would give us a bonus. Kind of similar. That's what I'm just trying to understand.
Well, the Christmas party is separate from this. They don't get
No, I
like,
understand
yeah,
that, but we were like, I'm talking about when I worked there.
Yeah.
We had our Christmas party / we got our Christmas bonus at that time.
Mhm.
Then option 1 is taking it from $2, which our employee handbook says. We've been given $3, but the handbook says $2 a month. But option 1 is taking that $2 to $5 a month. But option 2 is just year 1, you get $100. Each additional year after that, you get $50 per year. So that goes back to that table she's had up here. And that would be the option two numbers on the far right.
It's based purely on longevity, nothing with performance, nothing with, you know, accountability or anything like that. It's just, here's your money, because you've been here for 200 something months.
Yes, that's longevity.
And most places,
That's how it works. Some cities will do both. Will do longevity, and then they'll also do a performance. But with the performance, it's normally like
So
my previous employer. If you got a 4 or 5, you'd get a 4% or 6% raise. But the way that the cities work, y'all have normally, I think Bartlett has done cost of living adjustments instead, and so that's where it's different.
There, you get 775. Those 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's the one who has the longest, longest there, right? That's how you do it.
Yeah, employee, it's going by length of service from the highest to lowest. So you'll see that
So this month, this year is 205. Next year would be 200.
17.
And for some reason, in my mind was like saying, you're gonna give them $6,000 each. Wow, I'm in the wrong field.
No. That's the total amount that we'd be paying out for that paycheck. That first pay period on top of their pay they get. That's how it splits out between everybody.
What we did was, well, with Joseph, he just did the cost of living. What we did was performance plus cost of living. It was like you had a total of 5. So 3% was your cost of living, and then 2% off your evaluation from your department head. That's how it usually was.
that's the way it's supposed to be.
You got it now? Leave it out, buddy. Oh, wait. You got it, you understand? Yeah, yeah.
What's the driving force where it's supposed to be $2, but we decided to give them 3?
That's like we should win that opposite. That's what we've been doing.
Before 2018, it was 3. It was never changed in the system to be reflected on the new personnel policy to 2, so it stayed 3 with all the administration that came in and everybody knows.
I don't have a problem with being 3, but it's gonna be 3, then fight for what you say.
And that's
We're gonna go to 5, it needs to be 5.
That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
That's why we've got a red line and that's why it's getting changed. And then eventually y'all will adopt the updated version, and that's what's gonna be the living document.
So for this discussion, it's why we prefer option 1 or 2.
Because that's what's gonna be put into the red line.
So what do y'all, how are y'all leaning? We got an option 1. I really heard anybody else looking at it.
I already said option 1.
Yeah, you're the one. Thank you.
Very good.
If we're gonna do it, I think we need to look at the administrative side of that, which is gonna be the simplest and easiest way to manage it.
So option 1.
I mean, I would think so. What's y'all's opinion on that?
I think so, because it you know, whoever administrator is, or when we're all gone,
Yeah,
they just go to start date, it's in the system, boom, multiply the months, times 5.
easy,
Boom.
easy.
And if you have to prorate it out, what are you doing? Should calculate your months.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and then it comes to the question of, all right, they're at 11 months, so I give them the 12 months, and then it's just becomes a little harder where this is clear cut.
I think in the current policy, you have to be here a year before you're eligible for anything.
Yeah.
At least 15 months, I think.
Mhm.
to even be eligible.
Yeah, you have to be here, I think it was a year.
Get your $4 check on December 1st. Minus taxes.
So option 1's the preferential there.
Yeah.
So the next,
Second.
Yes, sir.
We jump off. I'm in agreement with option one. Before we go to vote on it and everything, I would like to see, option one with the different levels, 3, 4, and 5, and a better explanation about why we're jumping to 5 because it's easier in the system. Because that doesn't-
Well, the
data
five,
doesn't add up to me too well.
the 5 was based on y'all asked to see market data from other cities on how they do it. And that's where the $5 came
What
from.
you said a while ago is we need to go to 5 because it's easier to calculate. That, I didn't understand.
Oh,
I think she meant easier to calculate $5 per month rather than the
then option 2.
option two.
Option 2 is a lot more, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's.
Because I'm sitting here trying to crunch the numbers on option two, and I still can't even figure it out because I don't even think. It's like,
It gets a little complicated.
yeah.
Because then you have to divide months by years, and then you go to essentially the year that they're in, and then you got to create a table of, okay, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and that's how I was able to get it done. But then as the organization grows, that's going to be a more complicated process. Whereas option 1, regardless of it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's very simple. You pull the start date, you figure out how many months it is to the date that they're in. Excel has a very simple formula for that, and then you just multiply it by whatever number the council chooses.
And also to clarify, the months of service there, you got 15, is that actually what, or at least
That-
employees at 15?
That'll be
That-
whenever
that's
December
On the
24
That's
is.
where it starts, so up until 15 months, you're not even eligible.
No, that's based on current employees. Well, how many months of service they'll have in December of this year.
Oh, okay.
So if it was to December 1st right now, it's payroll, this is the table she's looking at, right? On December 1st, that's what they'd be getting.
Yeah, but December 1st, if you don't.
Every employee that-
10 months, then you're not even eligible. on that.
Yeah, but no one will have that.
Everybody up to that point
But
would
if
be.
we did hire somebody next year, they would. So we do need to set a minimum on that.
It's a year. Because as an example, I had
That's
myself,
all I'm saying. We need to set a minimum on there.
Yeah, last
You
year,
start here for 6 months. You should get something,
oh, okay.
a minimum for that. It's $50, it's $50, but sit there with all your coworkers get a check and you don't.
Yeah.
You know, that's, I've never been anywhere to do that.
That's, again, up to the council. If that's something that I'd like to see, we can absolutely do that. As an example, we had 3 employees last year that weren't eligible for one, so we just didn't write them a check.
You should get a minimum.
But it would be a minimum and a cap of.
Right.
Yeah, and the cap's to,
kept 240
Yep.
months.
and the minimum is essentially if you've been here less than a year, between 6 months and a year, it'd be, and the number you threw out was $50.
She said 39 more months to go, 39 to go.
You got a new employee that takes $50.
You ain't taking my money.
Christmas, you might want to think about hiring.
Is
You
that,
might want to think about staying.
is that something the council would like to include? If they're here between 6 months to a year, they'd get $50.
Sure.
Okay.
It's fair enough.
We'll include that.
New hires get a handshake. Keep up the
For
good work.
Christmas Eve, you're just out of
Option,
They get the leftovers from the Christmas party to take off.
and y'all can follow along if y'all'd like in the personnel policy, but section 2.02, organization of personnel. This version, and whenever I've talked to I think it was Chief about this version, there's the one we have on file, and I think what was the most recently updated, we don't have. And I think that was during Grant? Yeah. So there's going to be some sections that are conflicting, and that's what we were trying to clear up now. And so section 2.02 is one of those. I think whenever Mr. Mayor Grant was here, he made everything mayor, and it used to be city administrator. The reason this is brought up is because it does conflict with what y'all have in my contract, as an example. And so just looking to clean it up so that it matches everything that we've got out there. So this one, the recommendation would be to change it to city administrator so that it matches what we operate on. because it does conflict. As an example, I think it was, let's see. So item B, as an example, mayor shall serve as the department head of department hands, blah, 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 except the chief of police and fire chief. Well, that's what's in my contract. I can discipline everybody except for fire chief and police chief. That is the mayor and the council. And so for this to say that the mayor cannot do that conflicts with what we have in practice. And so just wanting to clear this up and rectify it so that it matches what we've got in the contract. Didn't know if y'all had any comments on that.
Well, then. So, you're on me?
Just all of this whole section needs to go to city administrator.
So, the mayor can't fire somebody.
It's supposed to be city administrator. The way we're supposed to have it, but this was grant. And so now it's just matching it to what it should be. But as an example, like I cannot fire the chief of police or the fire chief. I do believe that the mayor can. I think it just needs the council's approval. Is that right? Yeah. Not in the hot seat for the chief.
My question on this kind of stuff here is, none of us are experts in it.
Mm-hmm.
You be writing something, change the name to you, does not sound professional to me.
Yeah.
That should be outsourced. Have somebody that does this for a living, be writing policies, and then we can decide what we want about it. But for you to be writing policies and saying, no, I want this scratch up, put my name in there, that just does not sit well.
It's just matching the contract.
I understand that. The other part of that is, we're looking for problems to fix when we've already got a stack over here that we're not working on.
Mhm.
This is important, I understand. We got other stuff that's just as important to bring some money in, and we're not talking about those.
What things are you referring to?
Those electric meters.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna go away, and they ain't gonna forget about it.
No, yeah, we'll be working on those. We just need to get data.
We're not doing it.
Yeah.
It's never on the agenda to talk about it. Sometimes, since the first year, we talked about this personnel policy.
When I first started, part of my interview was to fix the personnel policy. And whenever you do a personnel policy update, it comes with an ordinance. So we want to make sure that all of the changes are done at once.
I understand it's important. We need to do some of the prioritizing, because the electric meters that we're losing our ass on are really,
Absolutely.
according to your calculations, this was discovered last year. According to the numbers you come up with, we've been talking about since last year. You said $1.4 million. That means we've already lost another million.
Mm-hmm.
And we are no closer to solving the problem than we were.
Well, we're working on getting good data. So the AMIs were installed on all of those CTs.
You pack these people with this in the middle of the summer, you ain't seen the fire problems. I'm telling you, we should talk about it. Maybe not every meeting, but it should be on the agenda pretty well. Where we at, what are we doing, and what are we gonna do?
We can work on including that.
Real quick update on the meters since we brought it. They were put into play, they were swapped out, put in.
We're going to have 1 month of data essentially this.
We've already collected
Great.
some data, but it was mid-month when they were put in, so there's a couple of weeks worth of data, but this meter read started this week, right?
Mhm.
So, we should have like a full month of data plus a couple of weeks. So the data that was asked for with last time we spoke about it, gathering the data to compare, is coming. So,
I was a little off subject before we were in the workshop, but, we have a rate study going on, or are we with that?
That's been included on all of the Friday emails, and you've gotten those.
Understood, but maybe the council hasn't been updated, I don't think, at this point, I kind of haven't mentioned their previous shop, and I mean, we're still sitting here just letting dollars slip away from us, we're not enough to get the dollars just to pissing off $1 million a year. And we could be
Yeah.
easily given that much money.
The rate study, the update that was included in the Friday email essentially said that it's in progress. Right now, they're in the data modeling, getting everything in. We've provided a lot of data to them. And the next step is trying to fix the budget. And by what I mean by that is that the 24 budget, when it was made, did not match the new chart of accounts for funding. And so I'm migrating that to match the new chart of accounts. And so then they're going to know where everything's hitting and needs to hit. And then they'd like to see a draft FY25 budget as well to understand what the true cost of service is, given that we have not been booking things the way we should have been because we don't have actions. So that's one thing that myself and Ms. Brenda have been working on, is getting a budget to action as well. Because it's never been done for the city of Bartlett in the last couple of years. And so when you do a rate study, that's very important to understand what it takes to operate an electric, a water, wastewater system. And so it's in the works. They're working on it. I know that it was in that email. And I know that the mayor and I talked about it as well.
They sent back and asked a few questions.
So yours seems to bounce back and Mr. Jones's also bounces back. So I'll print those out for you. We were having issues with our email for about 2 or 3 weeks. They also didn't go through, yeah. We've since fixed it, at least I think. We had to go into the website, do domain work, and a bunch of other things that I had to learn.
So on the personnel policy, that you want to see that come from like an outside source, a recommendation is coming from an outside source.
I think so. That's just good business. You said you're writing policies for your name, you know, your title on it, that's just not good. And that takes the pressure off you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can respect that. I mean,
So is that something that we just let the attorneys look at and then make these recommendations, or do we take this to the attorney and have them give us the feedback on it?
We can send what we've already discussed. The council's provided a lot of direction. We could send it to Robin Cross, and she can essentially work on updating it, and then hopefully within a few weeks we'd be able to have a draft.
With their blessing on it or suggestions on it, correct?
they would send us their suggestions.
Yeah.
It's not like their way or the
I
highway.
actually agree with Michelle, and I think that attorney needs to
They give their
their
recommendation.
recommendation and basically understand, we don't want to get the same thing that we had when the Mayor Grant made himself, just automatically relieve
Right.
all of that.
Mhm.
So we don't want to put you or anybody else in that same situation, so it really needs to be done to the letter of the law.
I think you also want to look at the type of city we are, general law type A, and make sure that, you know, Texas government code is being followed and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean,
We did discuss that to the Texas government code, correct, here a year and a half ago or so. I'm trying to remember what that communication was, and Joseph brought that to us about who had authority and
Yeah, it's the mayor and then whatever he delegates essentially.
I'm sure if we get looking at all the policies, there's a lot of.
oh, there's a lot of.
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah, there really is. I mean,
Yeah.
that's truly is.
Yeah, we
Now,
just
if you
needed
get
your
addressed, we've got
recommendation.
Other issues are costing us a fortune.
Yeah. And the big ones that we needed recommendations on, we've gotten, which were the longevity, the sick, the vacation leave, and other things of that sort. So we can send this to Robin and have her work on it. So we'll send this to her. Is there anything else that y'all wanted to talk about this or move on to the next item?
The thing about when we talk about, when we look at the local government code, I mean, the mayor is gonna be mayor another 2 years, so it's really his recommendation, what duties he wants to give up. that's what it said, the government code. He can say, you can do this. It's kind of not the council saying, hey, mayor, we don't want you to do this. It's up to the mayor.
Again, we're over here addressing this because it was up to the previous mayor.
Mhm.
So if we bring in a third party, that takes that out.
You can ask for
There's no
their,
more good old boy stuff.
you can ask for their recommendations. Doesn't mean you have to adopt their recommendations, but
Mhm.
you're gonna pay for the recommendations. They get a lot of experience. So Robin Cross is the HR lawyer through our city attorney's office.
And that's what you need, an HR professional working.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Okay.
I have no doubt that you can do it for her. It takes a lot of time for you to research,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
and then you're changing things to your time. And it just doesn't.
I understand that.
What else? Was that all on personnel policy?
Let me see if there's anything else. So we got the direction we needed on the options, so it'll be option 1. We'll incorporate that, and then we'll send this to Robin Cross to get them to work on it as well, with their suggestions. And then another thing on the, I guess, Mayor, next item.
Item 7, presentation and discussion on mid-year budget amendment.
So the reason that this item's coming to you before you all today, one of the major reasons is our police department is it beneficial?
No, but Clayton isn't resigning. He's on vacation. He uses his vacation time. He did have the max 60. So, and then you can only pretty much when you leave 80 hours. So he has not officially resigned, but he should be resigning next week. And verbally, he has told me he's probably going to get 20. And then he'll start with Hollywood.
So he left for a neighboring community,
For a lateral position.
a lateral position, but much more pay. They're starting out pays pretty good.
And when we looked at the market data, I mean, that confirmed it when we were looking at salaries. And so we are not paying the police officers what the market is paying them. And so in order to hopefully recruit and retain who we have now, the recommendation will be to go ahead and move forward with increasing their salary to what we were going to hopefully do in FY25. So some of the things that, and this is not an action item tonight, wanted to discuss it. So this is a workshop. So we wanted to look at recognizing increased revenue and then expense, and then the retention and recruitment portion of it. So from a revenue standpoint, what was in the budget, we're already seeing ourselves meeting it. And so want to update the budget and have an amendment to essentially recognize the added revenue. So from a permit standpoint, we recommend increasing that to a 70,000. What was in the budget was 27,000. Year to date, we're at 35,000 in revenue from permits. And a large part of that has been just, we've been working really hard to do stop work orders as we've seen them, so that people do work through us with the process that they're supposed to. And in that, we've seen that increased revenue. Franchise fees, currently they're recognized in the utility fund. They need to be recognized in the general fund. So shifting that to the general fund. And then grant proceeds, we don't recognize these, but we should. And so recognizing some of our reimbursable projects, so Safe Routes to School, the ARPA allocation from the county, and then the SITCOG solid waste grant that we received for 24. And then from a utility fund, we've also are going to meet our budgeted amount of tap fees, recommend increasing it to 20,000. That'll probably get surpassed. We just have a lot of infill development coming in where there's normally never been service. And then same thing for sewer. And then the other thing is we've incurred a lot of costs from development. And as an example, in our budget, we don't really recognize a lot of engineering costs or legal. Those have been reimbursed, but I think in our engineering, we have about 5,000 or 10,000, and that's all the expenses. I can tell you right now that is low, that we probably pay that out in a key period, so every week or so. Or every month, we pay around 5,000 up to 15 or 20,000, depending on what projects are going on. And some of those are reimbursable, but want to reflect that because while we're increasing the revenue, we also need to increase the expense to reflect that reimbursable cost. And so really in the legal and engineering components. We also have had more advertising and legal notices, just given the amount of variances that we've had to do. We've also got the PDD tonight. That one was one. We've got other ordinances as an example, the codification. We also had to put notice out. So just increasing that expense to what we're more than likely going to meet by the end of the year. From a recruitment and retention standpoint, this was the item that whenever we talked about it last, the new pay that we were recommending was $54,080. Currently, our police officers are paid $42,961. There'd be two employees impacted, and the payroll impact would be essentially $2,500 per pay period of an increase. And this is going to help us with recruitment and hopefully the retention of our current police staff. Essentially, it's just going to be the chief and Schwalke for a little bit. But want to make sure that we can keep who we have and then hopefully hire good quality people to replace Officer Clayton. So wanted to get any discussion and feedback. Is this an item that you'd like to see come back for adoption?
This is all based off of the police department.
Most of it, but also the revenue and expenses that we need to recognize.
And we did that was not an action item on the 22nd, it was just a workshop and a recommendation.
Yes.
So there hasn't been an action item.
You wouldn't have an action item on the FY25 increases for market until you do the budget ordinance when we adopt the budget for FY25. So these are all just kind of the building blocks of getting to that FY25 budget. But this one is more of a mid-year budget amendment to FY24 to impact current salaries. And then also,
So if this passes, are the people out there even higher at that new rate?
I'd let the chief answer that one.
Because it doesn't seem like anybody's having any luck hiring any police officers at any rate. Hardly. Yeah.
I know that,
I think this puts you right on about what the city of Granger's got theirs listed at, right? Their starting position, 52,000.
No, theirs was 40, and it's been like that for about a year. Then it went up to 45 last time, and they still have not even had anybody for that. Which brings it a little bit. Bars open, they close.
What did Holland post their position at?
Holland posted theirs at 58. Don't quote me on this. It was 58,500 to 63,500. And then that does not include.
And it worked. They got one of ours.
they got 3 or 4 applicants.
That's kind of a no-brainer.
I mean, that didn't,
Yeah.
that rate doesn't include.
They 5 miles closer to home.
Yeah.
Fight the same people. Making $18,000 more a year. I mean, man, that's awesome.
Tickets.
God bless him. I mean, love the guy, but I totally understand it.
The thing about it is, no disrespect, remember, I came to the council when Joseph here, and I literally said these were the numbers. I mean, Joseph, y'all seen around, me and Joseph went back and forth, and he said, that ain't the number. And now, Myra pulled the number, I posted for that position, it's still a low number. And I came to the council before I started losing Hernandez, and then now Clayton. So, I mean, it's nobody's fault, but, I mean, I've been trying to come to council, they can't.
So you did post the position last
Yes.
week at the current pay rate, not this
Not
one
this
we're
one.
talking about,
No,
but at the current rate. You've had 2 interested callers.
I've had one, he is not eligible because of a situation, and he's not eligible through TICO to be hired. Second one,
Not certified in the state of Texas.
yes. And that one, he lived in Holland, never been a police officer, and he wanted somebody to send him to the academy, which, like, if we can't get applicants, that could be something to be thought of in the future.
But Academy takes them out of the city. I mean, Academy's full blast, 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Up to a year, right?
6 months to a year, something like that, 8 months, something like that.
About 4 to 6.
4 to 6
Which
months.
academy you go to, but then you gotta pay for the academy.
So you go-
all the equipment.
Be on our salary. And
Pay for
then
their
also not here in the city, but we're paying a half year's salary and the academy, which is what, 8 or 12,000.
When they get certified,
Then they'll need training.
Then they go down the street to Holland and apply for that other position they got
Same thing with
available.
Aladdin.
Yeah,
Same thing. Can't blame them. Can't blame them about the medical stuff.
So we gotta get to the point where we're competitive with other cities, that we got behind. We were competitive.
I'd be concerned that that number right there is not even the right number to make it attractive.
Was it 54?
Yeah,
Probably
Yes.
not.
I agree. There.
that's my concern. I mean,
yeah, I mean, that's
And-
right within market. It wouldn't be above market.
and these dudes are working their tails off. I promise you. I mean, y'all see them a lot now. You're seeing them, but there's a lot more stuff that's going on. Just like this week at the school, then that takes chief out of the city for 4 hours dealing with that, and then at the same time, there's a rollover accident, half a mile down the street where you got, a life or death situation going on, but he can't peel away because he's got a prisoner in the car. And I mean, we gotta get these guys we gotta do something. I mean, we don't want to burn out the officer, the two that we do have that are here working every day. We're trying to figure out the schedule. I mean, he's doing a really good job looking at the call logs with the counties, and he's moving, him and Swaukee around a lot, just to try to cover the hot periods. And I think we're doing a fair shake at it, but we are not getting any help from either sheriff's department.
They're dealing with the same problems.
Neither Bell nor Williamson
That's what's
County.
going on.
Yeah.
They're not even. They're just flat out not coming.
Yeah.
Not to mention the number of influx of people. It's
Well,
gotten
they've-
busier than they were.
They put it in writing that they won't answer any calls for any city that has.
Not even for the guy throwing sweet potatoes in the street.
So the employees that are impacted would be the current employee that's still with us and then the new person, which is.
A vacant position that we'd be able to change that
everybody else
advertisement.
Level playing ground.
Mhm. So just is this something, based on what you're seeing, is this something that you'd like to see come back as a mid-year budget amendment? Is there anything else that you'd like to see included in that mid-year budget amendment?
Is that number okay? I mean, or do
Do
we
you
want
want to
Well,
go
I think
higher?
we need to investigate the numbers. We say,
Yeah, I think we are.
we go through all the process and we're still too low. Waste of time.
to?
Yeah, we can pull back the data of I'll send that in the Friday email, but whenever we looked at that, it was essentially right on. And again, we're looking at similar sized cities. So we're not comparing ourselves with Austin or Georgetown or Round Rock,
Well,
because they'll take a lateral and pay them $75,000 with no experience.
Do we have that in our budget to be able to reach it to that amount without hurting us?
Yeah, because we're seeing the increased revenue that we'd be bringing them. That's why there's that revenue and expense side.
From that department itself,
From the general fund,
or from the general?
yes.
Well, I don't think we have a choice.
But how does Academy get by with having a Bill County Sheriff's Department or school all day?
They've got,
resource officer.
it's their school resource officer, and they've got contracts with Bell County.
Also, Holland.
Holland has one too. Bartlett chose to go Guardian program. So they've got staff on campus.
And that's one thing that we had talked with VISD about, was possibly getting our police department in there, but now at this point, we won't be able to provide that officer.
That's the reason I was asking that, why Bill County, we.
That's a good thing.
Take care of our school, take that school away from you,
But
and something happens.
that's good you brought that up. Feel free to contact your county sheriff or your county judge and ask them. I mean, it's a state law now that they have to have somebody on campus as either as a SRO or as they got to be enrolled in that Guardian program. It's got to be approved, I believe. And so schools were freaking out because that went into effect last summer, and they had like 3 months to figure it out. And so I guess they went into all these, their county sheriff's departments and got contracts. I mean, like Round Rock ISD police departments, like probably bigger than City of Austin's police department right now. I mean, it's huge.
Bill County sits at the county
But-
all day long.
But then we got the letter from the Bell County Sheriff saying he doesn't have enough sheriff's officers in the streets to send sheriff's officers to Bartlett. Well, it's because they're all sitting in schools. I mean, so feel free to contact
I know what you're saying.
Judge Blackburn or Sheriff, whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
I know, Round Rock, you say that, I know an officer that just got hired that also, he applied for the Hollywood one and backed out because he got a job with Round Rock ISD for $83,000. $83,000. I mean, so anyway, you think about it, you have all the schools and officers pretty much working 8 to 5, not working weekends. And I'm gonna go work on the street and I can maybe go over here and make more money working for the school. So a lot of officers are going, if they want to deal with kids, are going, because that's a little different dealing with kids than dealing with the public. But a lot of officers are going towards the school because there's not enough police officers, there's a lot of positions open.
So, yeah, that's why you got the Bell County Sheriff's Officer. You're going to Holland, let's get in there too.
I'm looking too, and I don't think unless I'm just seeing it wrong, that the annual impact isn't necessarily 65,000, the real impact
It's
is only about
increased.
25,000.
Let me see.
Because we're already currently paying an officer 42,161, and I'm assuming we're paying the other officer that's gonna be leaving us 42,61. So if we were to hire somebody tomorrow, then the impact, if we brought them both to the level playing field, it's really like $25,000.
For the rest of this fiscal year.
Yeah, for the rest of but this is an annual impact.
Oh, annual.
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
We'd like to look at the annual impact when we're looking at
And that's
property
for
tax
two-
and
that's
whatnot.
for 2 officers.
I just thought we were looking at adjusting the current budget, not looking at an annual at this point.
Yeah, no, this is just so that we know moving forward in FY25 what that impact is to the budget.
Yeah, because it's not a $65,000 impact on the adjusted budget.
No,
For
it
the
would
rest
just
of
be,
this year.
yeah, it would just be a partial.
Yeah. That kind of misleads a little bit.
We got an impact about 8,000.
12,000.
12.
Yeah,
For the rest of the budget.
Mhm.
12,000 some change.
October 1 is the beginning. Y'all want her to send us some more numbers of, kind of revisit that number right there?
Well, I'll send y'all essentially what was provided at the last time we talked about this, which was what's everyone paying, and then how we came up to this number, and then if y'all want to go a little bit over, that's completely fine as well. That's how that number came up, was the rate market study.
Because you currently have the position listed at 42,161, right, on TML?
Mhm.
And so then we would, if we stuck with this, we'd redo that and list it at 54,
Yeah,
5480.
which is 12,000 more than what we're currently paying.
Yes, but is that 5480, the magic question is
Is that the right
make it
number?
attractive for somebody to apply in Bartlett?
What did you say, Olin was?
58.
Starting with 58 to 63, something. He also is gonna, and I know I'm not gonna get his exact numbers, but, he's also, out there 90 days, gonna get certification pay. Because he does have an advanced, police officer license, so he's gonna get an increase there too. And an increase after 90 days, a little increase from that too. So it's gonna be way more than what he's.
It's not just
starting at.
58,000.
And a lot of these numbers here, when we look at 54.8, if you call another city, that's their base.
Mhm.
Now, when you have an officer that has years of experience, like, look at SWAT, he's been here over 8 years. He's been on night shift. Now I'm just gonna give this story. He's always been on night shift, 6 p.m., 6 a.m. A lot of people have not seen SWAT. Look at this. Everybody at home and out. Now he's out running. We had
Now we're getting complaints about that new police officer.
Now he's called the new
Yeah, that's what he
police
said.
officer that's running around here running traffic.
People complain,
He's harassing everybody.
people complain about the new police officer, been here 8 years.
Called me, very distraught, the whole town, said, everybody, over that new officer we got.
Cause they got a
And I said,
stop sign ticket.
But yeah, what I'm saying is that is the base. You also have to look at somebody that has like a police officer that just got out of the academy. I can see a police officer just got out of the academy $54,000. This did a career 8 years, 10 years. You know, then it depends on your certification, your basic, intermediate, advanced, master police officer. You know, which we do have a certification rate that's kind of low compared to other cities, and something we can look at in the future too. Because we also don't do an education rate. You know, when like Waukee has a bachelor degree in criminal justice. You know, we should also give an education because I want the officers to go out and get their degrees and things like that. But I mean, just got to be, like you say, retention and retain.
Just because we post something, say from 50 more than 60 grand a year, doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna hire somebody that based on what their experience or certifications are maybe as well, at least at the starting.
What I would like to do is not post at the 54. If we went up to 56, let's just say 56, I want to do a range, let's say 50 to 56. Because I need to know what comes in, your qualification, you know, your background, where you worked at. And also given, because when we used to, I mean, it's been a long time since I have hired somebody, you know, because all the officers for a long time have been with me. And everybody put Hernandez on one. I was Hernandez sergeant. Everybody else was hired. But so it's a little different. So I would want to give them this is my department, and we have a complete different operating procedure. I would like them on to the field program. They will need to be evaluated, and at the same time, they need to make less money for 90 days. Same thing as what Clayton's going through. 90 days, you're being previewed. We can let you go. Now you make it past our probationary period, you get your raise. You know, I know it's still a low number if you win, but we let them know. You get past probationary period, I move you up to this bank.
That's why we did it all the time. Probationary. We just need to get some more information.
Better to get police officer on probation.
That's the real deal.
Introductory period, that's the correct word you say.
Parole. Okay, I think you got plenty of,
Bring this back with the information that was provided on January 22nd, and then pick a number from there. And then hopefully bring it back again for an actual adoption of a mid-year budget amendment.
so that's all on the workshops.
Just me.
Now we'll move into the consent agenda. It's the longest meeting we've had in 18 months.
You bring in.
I started at 6:30.
Amanda,
Oh, yeah.
you just barely missed the discussion about the recycle.
We'll do a
She
She was
survey.
asking about
It's
that.
okay, y'all keep going, I'll catch you all at the end.
Okay.
Y'all have a buzz.
In case you had somewhere to go, we don't mind updating you real fast. Okay, consent agenda. Receive monthly department reports. City administrator, city secretary, court development services, utility building, public works, Mr. Policeman. Those are in your agendas also, guys.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda.
And then item number 9 is approve the minutes from the following meetings, 2/12/24 and 2/26/24. We have a motion on the table to accept the consent agenda as presented. that you, Gil? Mr. Weaver made the motion, Mr. Jones has seconded that motion. All in favor to approve the consent? 5-0. We got a little bit of everything tonight. Now we're going into,
I know you dropped it twice. I dropped it now.
now we're going into a public
Oh,
hearing.
thank you. I got too much here.
So we'll open the public hearing at 7:42 PM. Item number 10. Hold a public hearing regarding the submission of an application to the Texas Department of Agriculture for one or more Texas Community Development Block Grant Program, Texas CDBG grant for program year 2024.
So this one, we have to read a script. Again, this is for that downtown grant that y'all wanted us to look at applying for. And this is a part of one of the many things that we have to do. At a future meeting, you'll also see, I believe it's 2 resolutions, one considering essentially downtown of Blight, and then I forgot what the second one is, but there's 2 others that we have to do as a part of that to meet the requirements of applying for that.
88 compliance.
Yes. So thank you for joining me for this public hearing to discuss our community's housing and community development needs. Before we discuss our own community needs, let me provide some background on the funding opportunities through the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program. The Texas Department of Agriculture administers this federal block grant funding allocated from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, to the state of Texas. TDA offers competitive grant programs to distribute the funding to small and rural communities across the state. Our community has not received the Texas CDBG, is that correct?
Not in the last 2 years. I
Okay.
don't know what the timeline
In the
is.
past. The community needs identified in this hearing will be used to guide our own application for Texas CDBG funding and to provide valuable information to TDA for the future of the program. The first topic is affordable housing. In our community, we have housing and worked with Habitat for Humanity to build affordable housing. Are there any comments about affordable housing in the city of Bartlett? Since we have no one signed up to speak, I don't know if y'all are more than welcome to include any comments y'all may have as well.
It's a public hearing, so you can speak anyway. So.
So affordable housing, we're talking about
I would-
Section 8 housing, or
Anything from our perspective, affordable housing is essentially anything where it could be that. It could be, for some people, it may be apartment complexes because, there's not that ability to purchase, right? There's not that down payment that they have, so that can be seen as affordable housing. It could also just be looking at building homes where it is at a more affordable price range for, let's say, this area. So, you look at the communities kind of on 35, most of them are at 300 and 450 or higher, right? And so Bartlett could be considered affordable if you're looking at from that perspective. Because people may want to move here, buy a home here, but then they may work elsewhere because we're more affordable. So that is it could be defined in many ways.
and that's pretty much what's gonna happen anyway.
Yes. If everything works out the way we'd hope it to with the development that we have kind of in the talks.
So this is for a grant to be able to come study that.
No, this is for the Texas Downtown Grant for not redeveloping, but I think it's 300,000 or so.
Was it up to 500,000?
That's the other one.
Okay. It's a project, but it's got to be specific for your downtown region to do
Infrastructure,
like
lighting, ADA.
Yeah, like ADA sidewalk, accessibility, sidewalks, lighting downtown, which we discussed last time was lighting because it's pretty bad.
Parking.
I don't
We found out
believe,
striping is not included, right?
yeah, striping is not
Yeah,
included.
striping wasn't
We
included.
suck at parking.
The one thing we need is money.
Rerouting electric lines is included. Remember rerouting electric lines was included.
Replacing water, sewer lines.
Replacing water, sewer line,
Gas
infrastructure,
lines.
gas lines. I think maybe even broadband was part of it, which pretty much covered now.
This is an application to be, or
Yeah,
To submit for the,
process
yeah,
an
and this
application.
public hearing, what she's reading is just
a requirement.
a requirement that we have to read it to the public, and anybody can ask any questions on it. So yeah.
Or provide any
We're checking
feedback
the
to
box.
include in the application.
And about the Texas CDBG, I know we did a CDBG project that those sidewalks down there were probably done with a downtown grant, I would think, but this was like 8 or 10 years ago when they were putting in.
Yeah.
A lot of that was done off of the
Money
Film,
from the movie.
the
that
film,
was all off.
Yeah.
the film project.
Because when I looked at Bartlett, it didn't say that we've had any in the past, but I know we've had CDBG, but I didn't know if we had Texas CDBG.
Yeah, so
So how long did it take for these grants to develop? I mean, once you get the application done and get approved, so forth and so on.
This one's due in April. So we have a tight timeline. It's getting this public hearing done and then working through the application, which I'm doing myself. And this first application is very preliminary. It's essentially just providing information about the city. You know, do we meet the being affordable, which we do, what's that term that they always use with the Texas water?
disadvantage.
Disadvantage. Are we disadvantaged? Which we are.
Yeah, we're dead.
And then, you know, do we have a designated downtown area? Do we have the resolutions? Did we do this? It's kind of a preliminary submittal, and then they will invite you whether or not they want you for a final submittal or more in-depth application.
What would happen on that if they did come up, and they did all those sidewalks downtown and put the lights in? I don't think it had anything to do with this grant. I think it was money from
Mhm.
the movie.
Yeah.
But if it did, and we said that's what we were using, are we gonna be in some kind of trouble?
No, I mean,
We just
When I-
find something else to use it on.
when I looked at the first application, it doesn't even state what the project is yet, because I think that they also help determine what the project should be.
We can't give them.
We can give them some suggestions, but I mean,
We're just applying for it to be in the
in the running.
for a project. We haven't, this is not giving them, we're not nailing down a project that we want to apply for, like
Oh,
water lines or.
It's all forgivable.
We
Well, it's a
definitely-
grant,
One thing
so,
that we do need to work on down there is fire hydrants,
Mhm.
fire flow in downtown and sewer as well. So
so
those are, you know, later on when they ask for the project y'all want to go after.
But it-
To answer your question, it's a grant.
100%, then there's gonna be some match.
it's not a loan. It's a grant, so it's $300,000 that they provide, and all we have to contribute is at least 3%. The more you contribute, the higher points you get. And so the resolution that I'll be bringing at the next meeting is actually, I think it's around 25,000 that we contribute, and that's it. So you'd get 275 or 300,000, and then we'd contribute minimally. If
we'd
we
have
are slow.
345 work.
Yes, that, again, this is not really something that you'd have to look at the 25 budget. You're not going to be allocating or encumbering
This
or
year,
this year.
this time.
So this is for the 25, because the application closes in April, but I doubt they're going to have anything really close where they're going to do invitations and accept until maybe October.
2032. It's a grant.
Really good. We find somewhere to spend money down there.
Well, I think they're gonna tell us where we can spend money from what I'm hearing.
That's what
We
can't
tell
spend
them,
on.
we tell them where we'd like it to go, like as do we want to do infrastructure? Do we want to continue the sidewalks? The lighting on Evie Street, you know, Clark Street got the lights last
In the
time.
interest of downtown development, parking and lights and sidewalks would be the key thing.
So 51% will have to be used on
If we could ever get that
ADA.
guy that has all those downtown buildings here to talk about what we need downtown. What do we need downtown, Robert?
A lot.
Besides businesses.
Yeah, I would think about, what would businesses want? Or what could be a draw for businesses, right? So
I mean, broadband was a big one.
that
Luckily,
was
we
a
have
huge one. yeah.
fiber here now, which has helped
That
a
was
lot.
very big one.
Continue with the script.
Welcome.
It's whole page.
Carrie, oh yeah, you're not done yet?
Oh, no, I got like 4 seconds. The next topic is social services. Are there any comments about these services, additional services that are needed, or populations that remain underserved by social services? Not a lot. I was like, there's not a lot here. The third topic is public infrastructure. In our community, the city operates the water, wastewater, and electric system. We have addressed these needs in the past by budget expenditures, working with county bond programs, and seeking grant assistance. Are there any comments about our local infrastructure needs?
Yeah.
Replace everything.
We have no needs whatsoever on our infrastructure. It's top
Yeah,
notch.
we need those.
Yeah.
So with you saying that, if us applying for that, or that comes into play, how does that go against what we're trying to do with our new sewer plant on that grant? Would it hinder that process? or-
No,
No.
not at all.
Completely different.
So I'll put replace aging infrastructure. I know that you mentioned fire flow downtown.
You say aging or ancient?
Aging,
Non-existent.
and then finally, the fourth topic is economic development. In our community, we have the municipal development district that assists businesses and towns in our town. Are there any comments about economic development needs or opportunities? I know in speaking with Robert, there's been talk of maybe assisting some of the businesses that want to come in with some upfront costs to be able to establish their business. A lot of them may not have that initial infusion of cash to, let's say, get everything they need for their business.
So we talked to LDD last meeting about startup grants. It'd be like 50-50, they provide so much, and then the business would provide so much. So the LDD is exploring options on some different grant opportunities that they could provide to an entrepreneur wanting to come in here and open up a business.
I
So
think they've been doing that, haven't they, on the grant time?
for like facades,
I know we did with the
Red and White,
Yeah.
they did two, I think, with Red and White, 2 grants, facade grant, in which she used to paint the building and the signage on the building, and then I think they even gave her a grant for the interior on the inside, and so to set up the little table area, get rid of those old freezers. So yeah, they did good on that. But this would be for like,
New businesses.
say, somebody wanted to come in here and open a, new business downtown. They can go to MDD, say, hey, I've got, $20,000 of my own money that I'm gonna do, but I really need another $10,000 or whatever. Then they could apply for a grant. There are caps, and then, there's
Yeah.
match portions and stuff like that.
Something they're still looking at how that program would look like if they.
And obviously, anything facade would have to be approved through the building owner and all that, what have you. It's not just Jack leased a building downtown, he wants to paint the front polka dotted, and it's like, tear the ceiling out, do something crazy, Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this is the conversation or not, and it's really random, but, so my parents and my sister and brother-in-law have Teslas, and they drive from Austin here.
Car charging stations.
Yeah,
What?
the car charging station, right. So like I went to DFW with my folks. What'd you say?
Yeah, you didn't want to hear it.
All right. Well, I don't think I will ever own one, but they do. And so when I go to Dallas with them, like it's crazy how few there are and there's this like bakery that's right next to the charging station and they're like booming because people just like park their cars and walk over because it takes like a chunk of time to charge.
Bucky's long to figure that out, did
Yeah.
They figured it out.
And I know there's so many cars that just come through our town.
We could, I know MDD's talked about it in the past, and they even approved money to do it, a charging station. It just never got done. But, because they couldn't determine on where to do one. Do you want to do it downtown? Do you want to just do it in front of City Hall? They park here and they walk downtown?
Do you charge for it?
Oh, yeah.
They
You have to swipe it.
Right across the street, we could hook them right up.
You have to swipe a card. It's not free to charge one of them bad boys. You have to,
Yeah, you have to swipe it.
Lucky's
like
running
gas.
off of a generator. It doesn't come off the infrastructure.
Lucky's doesn't?
It's a big generator.
There's a reason
A
for
long time,
that.
enough time
There's
to
a
buy
big reason
stuff.
for that. I know what it is. Transformers are pretty big.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh, we have to read so much now.
So, but yeah, good thought
Yeah,
though. I mean,
something
I
to
think
put
that's
on
something that you could maybe throw in on Evie Street. I always thought like down there by where the pear trees are on, maybe on that side or on the other side where the bank's at. Maybe it's little charging stations there, but you'd want them. My thing about downtown is you want it to look like historic downtown. You don't want it to giant Tesla glowing thing out there, you know, so that was another thing, was like, how do you make it look, you know? So like, more like in front of City Hall makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Or a PD.
Well,
You can plug your car in.
yeah,
You get you those little,
my wife has electric, so, and
like driving a golf cart.
$90,000 car. Ridiculous.
But yeah, it is.
Ridiculous.
We can take the money if they come to Bartlett, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be, and then they're like, how long does it take to charge one?
So we're just talking, it takes a long time, long enough to spend the money.
Yeah, see, I like
It depends on if it's a fast charge. Fast charge, you're looking at 30 to, fast charge, looking at about 30, 45 minutes.
So you spend some time.
Slow charge, you're looking at a couple hours.
And there's none in like Granger or
There's not.
Holland or Academy.
So Bucky's is the closest ones that I know of. I don't even,
Bucky's.
Yeah, there's one in the
Temple, you
Wolf
know.
Ranch.
Wolf
I'm
Ranch.
sure Austin has a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
people have to
95?
plan, yeah, people have to plan their routes when they do those.
So you get a map that you come on your phone, it tells you what all the charging stations and everything are at, and you're correct. There are some on 95, there's a couple in Georgetown, my wife works in Austin.
Okay, so
So
where
she
are
does stop in between.
They're at the Wolf Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
They're by the,
They're
they're in front of the Bunt Cake place in Georgetown.
So you just need to apply for this grant, is that what you need to do?
This is we have to do the public hearing.
that's the
What's your
public
best?
hearing. We're talking options. There are grant opportunities
That's it. Yeah.
for charging stations. I think VW had. Oh, Vicky, we're having fun. These guys, they're not ready to go home.
No, they're not. He's not safe. He's on bed.
Dan doesn't have anything else to do tonight. All right, so anything else on your script? All right, so anything else on the public hearing? That's the longest public hearing we've had in a long
I
time.
know they normally last a minute.
We'll close it at 7:58. Is it really 7:58?
Yeah.
We started at 6:30?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, what's wrong with y'all?
Then we start sick.
Can we just move all this to the consent agenda? All right, now we're getting into the fun stuff, the regular agenda items. Item number 11, consideration and possible action to approve ordinance 2024-0311-01 to rezone approximately 5.620 acres from general commercial C1 to planned development district, the small house district R4, generally located in the 200 block of Brook Street.
So Mayor and Council, this is for the PDD for Bartlett Crossing. As you recall, we had the public hearing. I think it was 2 or so meetings ago. We didn't have any comments. You'll see in the ordinance everything that's being outlined. And so if this is approved, it essentially rezones them to that PDD with the allowable uses of what they're describing. I believe it's 26 homes. First phase being 5 or 6 homes. And then you can see there the sidewalk kind of ends, and that's going to be an ultimate connection to Bartlett Farms. And
That's a street, not a sidewalk.
yes.
They actually showed us elevations and everything in those homes, I think, in that presentation.
Yeah.
So they're really great homes. It's going to have a 5-foot sidewalk on the left side. It will have some kind of walking trail where the detention and lift station is. But it's a fairly simple development, and look forward to hopefully having this come into town. And looks like the printer didn't. Yeah, it's all good though.
So do y'all know where this location is? If you go down French Street where it turns and hits Brook Street, that land directly in front of you before you make the hard right.
We've noticed no one has gotten back to us whether they approved it or didn't like this, but it's going to be nice development on that side of town that I think will only continue to add more to that area.
That's the same street that's gonna be fixed on Williamson County project too, right?
Yes. And Arnold,
First thing that start.
so Arnold is part of that, and then, well, not Arnold necessarily. It's
Brook Street,
Brook.
French Street, Salt Lake Drive, and Bowie Street.
to get to the downtown from there. And then Arnold itself is currently being improved by the county. We'd reached out to the Wilco. I would reach out to Adam Boatwright and asked them if that's something that they had. And then before I knew it, they were working on it the next week. So worked out.
Sometimes they do.
So we just need a motion to, or no motion, we need to approve this.
I'll make a motion on that. To approve the ordinance 20240311-01 to rezone approximately 5.62 acres from general commercial C-1 to planned development district, small house district R4, located in the 200 block of Brook Street.
I'll second.
We've got a motion on the table. Vicky has seconded. All in favor? That's PDD, 35-0. All right, item number 12. Consideration of possible action to award RFP 202401 to Langford Community Management Services for administration professional services to assist the city in its application for the implementation of one or more contracts, if awarded, from the GLO's CDBG MIT RCP program.
So Mayor and Council, this
XYZ.
this item is, as you recall, you had given us direction to start applying for the general land office to, it's $500,000 of a grant to do a comprehensive plan and hopefully some other things with our, planning and zoning. And so this is a part of that. We have to get a grant administrator to help us out. Langford luckily submitted, and they are the top pick. The other group was GrantWorks. The reason that Langford was picked over GrantWorks was Langford isn't really putting a cost to it. They're not going to have the city pay for this. Essentially, it's going to kind of come out of, I think it's at no cost to the city. And then GrantWorks did have a significant amount of money being taken away from that $500,000 to essentially help us with grant administration. So,
So they get paid out of the grant.
no, I think that's what GrantWorks wanted, and Langford is. So you'll see here, it's $300,000. No fund matching requirements. And I remember them being someone who was not going to charge us.
We use
We use them
Langford.
for everything.
We use Langford for all of our grant applications.
Is at the very end. Let me get that.
Basically, out of $300,000, that's where Langford will get their pay.
I'll confirm here.
Develop the plan.
Yeah, just give me 1 second to confirm.
Now, with the data and everything they're producing, is that something we're gonna have to upgrade software or buy programs to be able to manage that?
No.
This is like create like CIP and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, so the comp plan
Remember
is,
that thing we always bring about from 2005 that we found underneath holding up the copy machine or whatever it was.
Oh, okay.
Remember that? You're supposed to update it every 15 to 20 years. Or right on cue. So this is a grant to update that through the general land office.
So I'm just a little concerned about them not putting a dollar amount of what their services are based off of the $300,000 grant, what will they actually provide? And I guess that's inclusive in the rest of the proposal.
Yeah, it's somewhere in here. Let me pull it up. I remember them being a no cost.
Yeah, in the middle there, there's a plan study and the process summary. So they will assist the city in developing that and updating the city zone.
Okay, so here it is. No grant fees, no grant administration fees are charged until a GLO CDBG MIT project is funded. They'll apply for the no more than 300,000, and then entity driving to have a comprehensive funds that the GLO allows for that activity. Will you prepare? They'll determine final costs to include in the application based on the studies necessary. So essentially, they're not going to charge us for developing it. If and when we do hopefully get it, then that's when we'll discuss costs.
Then they'll tell us how much it's gonna be.
Yes. But that's how they normally operate with these grant folks. Isn't that how it's always been?
I can kind of answer that, because Mara's been pushing me more on look for grants and things like that. So I've been talking to a lot of different people about grants. And what I'm finding out, they don't want money from the city. If I can charge you $10 and get $10 from the community, and then I go over here and charge the government $100, they'd rather give it from the government than getting it from the city. I mean, that's the way I put to me, and it's like, well, that makes sense. They charge them more.
I mean, it's essentially a free comprehensive plan, no matter how you put it, right?
I just wouldn't want to get through this thing and all of a sudden we're $150,000 that we owe them because the grant didn't cover it.
No, that would be based on how we just project manage and define the scope.
And who's the project manager?
That'd be the staff.
Seems a little unknown to me.
I think it's another one of those things where we're, if I'm understanding this correctly, are we just giving them
The right to submit the
the
application.
right to submit the application? Then if we're selected, then they'll come back with the city, okay, now that's where we get into the cost. We don't even have to take it once you're awarded.
Selected.
You don't have to take any of these grants once you're awarded. But you can go ahead and apply for them, you get the award, and then you can determine then if the cost feasibility matches what the city can afford.
And the city does need an update to its comprehensive plan, as 2005, 2006 is when the last one was done. Apparently it was not adopted, so we've been working with something that we can't find records of its adoption. The comprehensive plan helps plan for future growth. As you know, Bartlett is on that cusp. And so this is going to assist us with identifying what, land uses need to be, what zoning categories need to be to match best practice. And then also looking at, a transportation plan of sorts. Where do we need to make some connectivities, arterials, connectors, and things like that?
A lot of these grants are like the road bond for say. It was tied to the CIP of the city. And so did it match your city's capital improvement plan?
I was just going off what she said, that this is one with the golden, and I didn't know if there were other applications that came in.
It was the other one that was.
GrantWorks, and they, from my understanding, we'd have to pay throughout the entire application, whether or not we got it.
So, in other words, this portion of the grant application
It's free.
is free, line free. If when grant works, there would be a fee to it.
Nothing's free.
That's in this portion. That's in this portion. Then when you get awarded, that's
Yeah.
where they're gonna hate
They're
you.
helping us with the FEMA grants. They're helping us with a lot of the grants that we have currently in the works.
Seems like they'll be paid less than we get it. They're giving them a little incentive to work for it.
Absolutely. And they've been successful in getting 8 of these.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to award the RFP 2024-01 to Langford Community Leadership Services for administration professional services to assist the city application for implementation of one or more contracts of this GLO CBG MIT RCP program. You got all that, Brenda?
The VIC has a motion on the table.
What'd you say?
Vicky Cooper has a motion on the table to approve the application process. Did you second? Mr. Jones seconded. All in favor? 4, all against? Against.
Where we at,
It passed 4-1.
41?
Consideration and possible action to approve resolution 2024-031101 to authorize publication of notice of intention to issue combination tax and surplus revenue certificates of obligation, series 2024.
So we do have Dan here with, he is our financial advisor who can help us a little bit with this item and the last item. This is for the Texas Water Development Board. It's the notice of intent for us to essentially then go and publish that we will be hopefully, we'll have a bond ordinance, and there's a lot of other steps in that process before we get to actual closing, and this is one of those things. I don't know if there's anything that you wanted to add, Dan.
Yeah, this is just a statutory requirement to sell the debt. We have to do the notice to consecutive use for a period of 45 days before you come back with the ordinance. So in this case, with the $1 million loan forgiveness, you're going to borrow 7.5, and this gets you one step closer to that.
Yes, sir.
Resolution 2024-01-1, and to authorize the publication of notice of intention to issue combination tax and surplus revenue certificate of obligation, series 2024.
Mr. Weaver has a motion on the table. Mr. Shelton second. All in favor? Carries 5-0. Item 14, consideration and possible action to approve ordinance 2024-0311-02, adopting and enacting a new code of ordinances.
So Mayor and Council, this is a part of the codification project. As we mentioned, we realized that in 2005, that comprehensive plan was not adopted, which changed the way that some of our zoning categories work. So we had to pull some of that back. And so this is now the correct version of our ordinances to then be able to codify it and then post it online. Yes, ma'am. I believe this has been 5 or 6 years in the making.
It's been a long time in the making. Way before predates me a couple of years.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-0311-02, adopting and enacting a new code of ordinances.
Ms. Cooper's got a motion on the table. I hear you, Philip, Philip second. All in favor? Carries 5-0. Consideration and possible action to approve ordinance 2024-0311-03, authorizing issuance of City of Bartlett, Texas tax notes series 2024 and enacting provisions incident and related to the issuance of said notes.
So Mayor and Council, this is the item. It's $750,000 that we've been issuing in tax notes. This one will be backed by the general fund, so property tax. And the way that this one is, and Dan can provide more information than I can, but I think the way that this one is worked out, it's the first 2 years are interest only, and then third year forward, it's principal and interest.
Correct.
And that works out with just the way that we've got our debt and how it falls off and falls on. So it's something that the city can do and is feasible. But this is going to help us with the issue that has been persisting, and also allowing for other shortfalls in the budget that need to be handled.
So that takes care of all
It takes care of the trust fund portion,
the trust.
which then removes liability. And if approved today, it would be closing in mid-April, and then we'd be able to work with that organization on the remainder. And that hopefully will be a process where we can negotiate. Dan, anything you wanted to add?
We did talk to a number of 3 or so other banks. Citizens Bank is the one purchasing this note, and it is, you can pay it off anytime after 2027, so 3 years. So I think there's additional revenue that comes in that flexibility.
If they need additional, you still need to be determined.
What do you mean?
As far as any penalties or anything,
Right now, everything's on hold since we're working with them.
until we get, but there is potential.
There's potential of it to go down. I don't know if it necessarily goes up.
Well, I make a motion that we approve ordinance 20240311-03, authorizing the issuance of the City of Bartlett, Texas tax notes series to 2024 and enacting the provisions in incident and related to the issuance of said notes.
Froggy, but it came out.
So Mr. Weaver has a motion on the table to approve ordinance 2024-0311-03 with a Ms. Cooper second. All in favor? Hold your fingers there. So that's 5. So because this is like,
You have to say who voted for who.
is it?
Do we have to go around each individual?
I don't think it's roll call. It's just yes and no's and abstentions. So everybody was yes, right?
Yes.
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 So that makes it simple. Right? Carries 5-0. That's it. Okay, future agenda items.
So I heard rate study, bringing that. That's going to be a staff one because in the scope, we only have a certain amount of times that they can come and present. And so normally that's essentially when they're presenting the options of rates and then getting closer to actually adopting. So it'll just be an update on where that is. And then same thing with the AMI
I'll
meters
sign all this. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Be careful.
is the two items that I heard. Any others?
I got one thing, I want to put some agenda item out there.
That was, meters, correct?
Yeah, AMI meters,
AMI,
rate
okay.
study.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
When they run the fiber through town, they give us a proposed map of their route.
Don't believe so.
No,
We need to get that. The reason being,
so we can look at pole attachments.
they patched our poles and they put anchors down,
Oh, I see.
which is put a strain on our poles that don't need it already. I like going up, they run the guy wire
Mhm.
behind my house. Like going over the lawn, but it's pulled up on the ground. So, I mean, not just my house, I'm wondering if they did that, where else did they do it?
Mhm.
Yeah, so we need that proposed route, and we need to drive and see what they did to our facilities and make them fix it. And we got guy wire pulled up on the ground out there, somebody's gonna hit one.
Yeah, we did see that on one, and I thought they were gonna get it.
On good note, they did clean the front.
Good,
They didn't go all the way through, but they got them behind my house.
that's good.
As long as you're happy.
I did, they actually did a good job.
I'd like to see in the next meeting, get an update on where we are with all of the engineering and everything for the water treatment plant. And how the phasing's running and where we are in that project.
I believe the
We have a kickoff meeting, so we'll have more information
pre-con meeting, is it
this week.
Thursday, I think?
Now,
Is it gonna be on site or where? The kickoff meeting?
It'll be here at City Hall. I think I forwarded it to you.
now this is extremely important, okay, so listen up. I would like for the city to be shut down on Eclipse Day. This isn't gonna happen again in our lifetime. I don't even think it's gonna happen in my grandchildren's lifetime. I understand, it's just a total tops of 3 minutes, but,
Well, Cook County shut down.
well, okay, there you go.
A lot of cities
are.
Schools have shut down too.
Schools are shut down, so I think I would like for us to consider just shutting it down, except you, I'll get you
The
some glasses.
solar eclipse
I'll
on
get
April
you some
6th.
glasses.
The solar eclipse on April 6th. Bell County's already issued a disaster declaration.
I understand, but
The other concern that a lot of the cities have mentioned is the traffic. People will not be able to get to and from as easily.
I have a hard time believing that 1 million people are gonna travel to this region to
Listen,
watch the freaking
I went to the,
sun go dark in the middle of the day, something that it does every stinking night.
you'll be surprised. I'm a part of that K Tempo, the Colleen Temple MPO thing.
Gassed up.
It's just like a hurricane coming. People are going.
Yeah, no, so in those meetings, it's, Colleen, Temple, all these cities, they're all saying that all of their hotels have been booked out for like that week. It's insane.
We should do like we do that thing at the ball fields. We should do like national night out. Kick some hot dogs.
yeah, we can have something down here.
One of the reports here, when we have applications.
Y'all stay at home.
Because we,
From what I was told, we need to have a lineman to hire an apprentice.
well, the other side of it is, we may have to grow our own.
Okay.
Look at that,
And
look at that.
I was looking, you had, on all your service orders, you had 10 categories that had something to do with electrical or meters.
Yep.
That's something that he can help with. You've got people that aren't trained and they're all working with line after doing that.
I mean, I'm sure he'd be interested if we give him a call back.
What I was thinking is, you know, we can't get a lineman, we can't afford the same thing as we'll come up with cops. They will get a couple of apprentices here. Yeah, they're probably not gonna stay, but they can give us a little bit. We got this meter program we're trying to implement. We send them to a meter school, get them trained up on how to change out meters and stuff. They can take care of that, and then they can help with some minor outages and stuff.
Light replacements, things like that.
What you call it, a lights on crew.
Lights on crew.
If that's the,
Something they can't handle.
If that's how y'all want, I mean, I can call that applicant and hopefully offer that job. Cause he just came out of the school.
It'd have to be repeated.
We've only had one apprentice apply so far.
Something else kind of along the same lines, I mean, I know that we're very short-handed on manpower, but why don't we consider implementing things like, let's stop doing brush pickup for people and having our guys do it. That's
We don't have the manpower.
We don't have the manpower.
That wasn't something that should have never.
We should just put a stop to that.
Originally, when it started, the trash company was picking it up for us. They're not doing that anymore.
The costs never get back, do y'all, either of y'all know if the costs can get back to Alice about brush pickup? Because they used to do it annually, right?
Right.
Twice a
Yeah, they
year.
used to do it annually. Ms. Alice did send an email to ask them about it. They was gonna talk to somebody higher up before they had the answer. They hadn't got back yet.
Yeah, they wanted to look at our contract.
Even if they'll just bring their grapple truck over here for, if we get it all picked up, and then we issue the city ordinance saying the city will not be picking up any more brush. We have a free brush site
90% of the stuff that's out there now is stuff that's been added this spring.
this spring, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not according to Ray, that stuff's been sitting there since
It'd be
Erie.
cheaper for us to open the dump every Saturday.
It really would.
And
Yeah.
as an
just have the
update to
dump
that,
open every Saturday from 8 to 12.
since y'all didn't get those emails, March 23rd, we're gonna be doing the burn at the brush site, because it needs to come down.
Should do it on April 8th. People, I mean, it's gonna go dark. We should have a fire going.
I wanna do it before they load it up even more, on April 6th.
Sell marshmallows out there, having marshmallows, man. Hot dogs.
Do it.
I said I wanna burn it before April 6th, when we have the cleanup event.
I won't be sick that day, that's an idea.
Anything else for the future agenda items before we adjourn this bad boy? I hear nothing.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Ms. Cooper has made that motion.
I'll second that.
Man, we're done in an hour.
Thank you all for your service to our city.
Thank you.
That's a lot of stuff.
And we'll call the meeting, Brenda, at 8:28 PM. It was only 2 hours, I think, Dad.
That's not bad.
Seemed like 4. Y'all talk too much.
How many hours will that be?
No, but you come here.
Total 25.
Only when you come? You wanna talk to them?
I've told Teddy,
They're
Jackie,
getting out of it.
I've told Teddy that we're looking to see a lot of new homes. And we've asked one developer to reach out to y'all. We actually just asked him last week, so it might take him a few weeks, but, because y'all may need a future school site eventually.